The old conflict of interest came up again last night. Now, I've made my opinion public. I've let it be known. I don't think that it helps anybody Now, I understand the NFL is in the entertainment business and they want Tom Brady involved. He's a minority owner of the Raiders. They also want him in there as an analyst for Fox. And I was like, okay, this is going to be a conflict of interest at some point. But if the owners are okay, the commissioner's okay, teams are okay, then all right, I'll be okay with it. And then last night I see Tom, he's in the coach's booth. He's there helping Chip Kelly, the offensive coordinator. He's got a headset on. And I'm thinking, okay, let me look at Tom's schedule here coming up. Just in case there's a conflict of interest, like he would be doing a game and then that team would be playing the Raiders. Well, he's got the Cowboys and the Bears, and then the Bears play the Raiders. That's a direct conflict of interest, right? Now, can he do his job for Fox while being the minority owner of the Raiders when he goes in to talk to Ben Johnson and Caleb Williams? Because his job is to glean information. His job is to, and this is what happens in those production meetings. The coaches and players, they'll tell you things, but they're asking you, you can't use this, don't use this until game day. In the flow of a game, it's really the it's unspoken embargo on information. Well, if you're the Bears and Tom Brady comes in knowing you play the Raiders the following week, then how forthcoming are you? So then Tom's not able to do his job for Fox. If the NFL wants him in there, great. I get it. But, on the surface, it doesn't look good that he's in there with a headset on next to the offensive coordinator. And the fact that they're blatant, they didn't hide it. Tom's not in the corner. He's not wearing sunglasses and a hat, a hoodie. But it's just not a good look. And Tom has to do his job for Fox. They're paying him $37 million a year. And, maybe it's not that big a deal. I've had, former quarterbacks saying, he's going to find out that information. I said, okay. He doesn't have to go to production meeting. No, he wasn't allowed to go to practices. Now all of a sudden it's like, well, the NFL kind of scoots along and says, we'll take a little bit of a hit here, a little PR hit, but that's okay. We still want Tom there. And I understand that. It feels wrong. There's a conflict of interest. Now, we did reach out to everybody, the commissioner. We also reached out to Fox to see if maybe, somebody there with their NFL coverage, because it might hurt their coverage a little bit. Yes, Marvin.
Do you think people would be in an uproar if he was sitting in the owner's box, a la Robert Kraft or Jerry Jones?
I wouldn't have as much of a problem with that I did with him being in the coach's booth. He's directly, now he should have helped out Geno Smith a little more, but that's different. That's different. Owners, okay, he's just, he's there, he's minority owner. All right, having a cocktail and, chatting up with Mark Davis. This, you got the headset on. How would you feel if he was on the sidelines with a headset on? Might as well be. And I know maybe this isn't a big deal. Maybe it's not. I don't like the look of this. Yes, Marvin.
I think it would be a bigger deal if they won.
Probably so. Yes, Todd.
I think it's also exacerbated by the fact that you're talking about a sport that's just got 17 games, and one game could be the difference, or one piece of information in a home game or a playoff spot altogether. If there's some game in June in baseball, a Cub-Brewer series, and he's in the Cubs booth or whatever, and he owns whatever, part of the Pirates, whatever, that's the fact that there's just so few games, that could possibly be an outcome that could affect things later on.
Yeah, Paulie.
And for it to not be a conflict of interest, you had to believe that Tom Brady would gather information from whatever team and not bring it back to the Raiders coaching staff. Of course he would, because otherwise he's not giving the Raiders their full value, and vice versa. Fox, now, they're going to have him going to production meetings, and those teams are going to be hesitant to give Brady anything, especially if they're on the schedule upcoming. So now he's 3/4 of an analyst on Fox, and Fox is paying $37.5 million for that.
Now, I did hear from somebody I don't want to, somebody who has a say in this, or at least they know what's going on. And they said, hey, you're missing a point here, too, that Ben Johnson may say to Tom Brady, tell me what you see help me with Caleb Williams. Like he may use Tom to get information to help Caleb Williams. Yes, Paul.
That's a bigger conflict of interest because now he's selling out the Raiders to help another team competitively, which, first of all, broadcasters are not allowed.
But that's what I would be saying. If I'm Ben Johnson,
Right.
I would say to Tom, I want to put Tom on the spot. If you're in my production meeting, we're coming in and you're interviewing me, I want to ask you some questions. I want you to tell me, what do you see with Caleb Williams?
Man.
Well, I mean,
Oh, no, I know you're right what you're saying, but that's a worse conflict of interest because now the Raiders are getting shortchanged, and after they gifted him ownership. The funniest part of last night is they're in the booth and they showed Tom for the second time, and Tom's like 6'4". He's the tallest guy in the booth, even sitting. You know how you do that thing on your chair that goes tss, tss, to make it go down?
yeah.
Brady hit the chair and starts going lower and lower, like he's hiding out, like anyone missed it.
Well, he might have been told, dude, you're on camera.
Well, you could see them looking up the monitor in the booth, and they all realized
You're on camera. Here's Pete Carroll after the game asked about Tom Brady in the coach's booth.
Pete, there was a report that Tom Brady meets 3 times a week or so with Chip Kelly, goes over film with them. We saw him up in the booth with a headset on. I just was curious your thoughts on that level of participation with Tom Brady.
Yeah, that's not accurate. That's not accurate. That's not accurate. We have conversations. I talk to Tom. Chip talks to Tom regularly. I mean, we have a tremendous asset, and so and we all get along well, and we respect each other, and so we just talk, about life and football and whatever it comes, and he has great insight. So we're lucky to have him as an owner.
Okay. You have conversations with him like 3 times a week, and you talk about football and life, and you're not using him then. If you're not asking him football questions, then you're doing a disservice to the relationship. It's like if Warren Buffett came in here and I went, nah, I'm just going to ask him about life, not an investment. Yeah, Hey, Warren, let me talk to you about your love of ice cream. Yes, Todd.
Tom will give me like hotel and restaurant recommendations, things like that. We don't even really get into football much, come to think of it.
Yeah. Oh. I'm guessing, knowing Tom, how competitive he is, of course he has something to say to Chip Kelly. You'd be crazy not to tap into that. That's why when somebody said, oh, Tom's not really involved with the Raiders, it's minority ownership. And I said, you are absolutely delusional. Delusional. Tom is still competitive, and he wants to win. He has Mark Davis's ear. He has autonomy there. Peter Schrager is the one who reported there's 2 NFL reporters who have said the same thing about Tom talking to the offensive coordinator 3 times a week. Okay? These are guys who don't miss. They are reporting this. Yes, Paulie.
the NFL, though, they greenlit this 3 years ago when they let him do both because they wanted star power in multiple places. And what will likely happen this week is we called the NFL, we call in, they'll go radio silent until there's a Thursday night football game. And then hopefully we all move on.
Yeah, it is definitely. Well, no, until the Raiders play the Bears. And then this is going to be a big deal again. So,
but they can't unring this bell.
No, they can't. No. I just, okay. The NFL is okay with it. The owners are okay with it. Teams are okay with it. Then, all right.
What? What?
What? In all seriousness, though, if I'm Jerry Jones, I call Troy Aikman and say, you'd like to be a consultant because it's now green lit. Troy Aikman's a genius of football, and I would actually bring Troy Aikman as a consultant role.
Or you say you want a piece of the team, Troy.
Sure.
Yeah, we'll give you a small piece. Do you want to do that while you continue to do games?
Troy's got Sundays off.
You say, well, guys, it's completely separate. Okay, he would never do that. He would never do it. Come on. That's insulting. That is insulting to suggest that he would do that.
Yeah.
Come on.
All right. I wouldn't have had him in the coach's booth. That's all. I would have given him a rapid radio, and I would have said, just, push the button and talk to Chip. Maybe do that, a couple of times. Yeah, Paulie.
Poll question. Was Tom Brady invited to join the coach's booth, or did Tom Brady walk in and nobody told him to not be in the coach's booth? Which do you think happened?
I would think with his relationship with Chip Kelly that this was mutual. Hey, I'm going to be in there. But, there is, it's like when you have that amicable split, like, hey, we both came to the same decision at the same time.
I quit.
We're going to break up. Oh, I was going to break up too. I'm going to guess somebody had to bring it up. Maybe, Tom told Mark Davis, hey, I want to be in the booth. Now, does he just walk in and all of a sudden got his headset on and he's got his, Sharpies and a notepad and they're like, hey, Tom. Hey, guys.
Was it bring your own headset?
I thought that maybe he'd have like the play call sheet up by his face so we wouldn't be able to see what he was calling. Yes, Marvin?
Does he even run it by Mark Davis, or does he just go to Chip Kelly and Pete Carroll? Hey, guys, I'm thinking about coming in to Vegas on Monday night. Oh, yeah, sure. You can come into the coach's booth.
I would give the owner a heads up. I'm going to be in town, Mark, but I want to help out Chip. I'm going to be in the booth. And if I'm Mark Davis, I say absolutely. They've already greenlit this. So we can be blatant with this. Yes, Tom.
Can he overrule Chip Kelly when it was 44 blue slam? Whoa, Chip, whoa. We're going red X89, red X89.
Maybe that's why Gino had a bad night. He's like, wait a minute, who's talking to me? Is this Tom? Is this Chip? Well, it was Chip. Now it's Tom. Another interception.